Core. What does it mean exactly? Well, it's defined as the part of something that is central to its existence or character. Or, as the old French like to call it, heart. In this case though, we're looking at core as a suffix like used most commonly in the word hardcore. As the internet has grown, more aesthetics have seen a boom in popularity. Certain groups have grown and built a community around a certain aesthetic. Once these unique aesthetics have grown to a certain amount of popularity, then the core suffix is slapped at the end of a word, and boom, a new core aesthetic is born. Cores are still a relatively new idea though, although many of them use features found in the early internet days. Images and other visuals are key to these cores to show people what it's about and what vibe the aesthetic gives off. Music is also an essential part of cores, with many artists becoming staples of each aesthetic. With more and more of these cores popping up in the recent years, I wanted to make this video to take a quick dive into some of the more well-known ones in recent times. Welcome to the fascinating world of internet core aesthetics. Internet core, also known as Webcore, is heavily inspired by the early days of the internet. It expresses nostalgia for the early 1990s to early 2010s. Webcore takes you back to a simpler time where the internet was less streamlined and the social media monopoly didn't exist yet. Webcore reminds you that the internet wasn't always as fleshed out as it is today, with early websites that had harsh design choices, clunky animations, and pixel art. Another main visual aesthetic of Webcore is the rounded blue edge windows that old software on Windows XP archived. Early Windows pop-ups and backgrounds are found in many Webcore images. More features include early clip art and things made in Microsoft Paint, pixelated emojis, and bright colors. These are all used to help welcome you to the internet. A reappearing figure you may see in many Webcore images and playlists is Anna, which is a character created by the YouTuber Joel G. On their YouTube channel, Joel makes animations and songs that are almost the very definition of what Webcore is. These animations range from 30-second shorts to over 15-minute long videos that tell original stories with all original characters, including the main character themselves, Anna. Most recently, Joel has been in production of their own video game that continues the style and story being told from their previous Anna videos. And judging by the trailer, any fan of the Webcore aesthetic would love this video game, with its bizarre blend of beautiful animated characters and content found in early video games like endless worlds made of polygons and dialogue boxes similar to early RPGs. I highly recommend you go over to their channel and check them out. But speaking of video games, I can't bring up the internet without talking about the video games that came along with it. Early RPGs like Earthbound and Yume Nikki have pixelated graphics and chiptune music and other qualities that many early video games had. More recent games that have quickly become popular have taken inspiration from these early video games, such as Undertale and Amori. Some musical artists that have been associated with this aesthetic are Graham Cartner, The Scary Jokes, Jack Stauber, and Sodakin. The weird and whimsical sounds that these artists produce really sound like a tribute to those simpler times. If you're curious to see more of what this aesthetic looks like, I highly recommend checking out the website Cameron's World, which is a tribute to the aesthetic and truly a love letter to their old internet days. With that being said though, let's move away from the internet, as the next core we are looking at is...
Days seem sometimes as if they'll never end. Sun takes its heels to torch.
Quite the opposite of Webcore, Cottagecore is centered on ideas of simple living and harmony with nature, sprouting themes based on prior decorative, literary, and historical trends. Cottagecore draws influence from the romanticization of the English countryside from the Romantic and Victorian periods. Cottagecore aims to make you feel like you're walking through a beautiful forest or sitting in a garden reading a book while drinking tea. Cottagecore images always use natural colors like browns, greens, and whites. Common visuals are items such as strawberries, mushrooms, and flowers. Another important visual aspect of the aesthetic is, as stated in the name, cottages. Little English homes which usually sprout rustic stone walls, chimneys, and shrubbery surrounding it. Food, books, and animals are more important factors of the aesthetic. Sweet food and baked goods like fruits, pies, and bread contribute to the cozy atmosphere. Romance and fantasy books are also used as a creative outlet for imagination and independent learning. Docile and cute animals such as butterflies, cats, sheep, and frogs can be found in images which help build the calming atmosphere of the aesthetic. Fashion is also a big part of this aesthetic. The fashion is more feminine focused with cozy outfits that include elements of whimsy. You'll usually see longer flowy dresses and skirts with floral patterns or laced corsets and bodices. Cotton, knitted yarn, and other natural fabrics are found in these outfits. Speaking of knitting and sewing, other peaceful activities associated with the aesthetic are gardening, picking flowers, weaving flower crowns, picnics, painting, and drawing. Like other factors of cottagecore, the music that is associated with it evokes comfort and gentleness through soft vocals and slower tempo songs. Some artists that are commonly used in cottagecore playlists are Leona Flores, Anya Carter, Hosier, Mitski, Cavetown, and Bon Iver. With how prevalent the internet is nowadays, it's nice to step outside into nature every now and then, to get away from everything, and to just get lost in its beauty, and that is what cottagecore aims to do.
Now I know what's real, what's fake.
Dreamcore is an interesting and surreal aesthetic that, like the name implies, uses motifs commonly associated with dreams, portrayed like usual, through images and music. Dreamcore is very similar to Weirdcore, which once again I'll talk about in a second, in the way where it uses strange imagery that can only be conjured up in dreams, but it is different in important ways as well. Where Weirdcore is a bizarre aesthetic to the point of unease, Dreamcore does not intend to give off feelings of dread, and instead focuses on emulating the general feeling of what it's like to have a nice dream, one that sticks in your mind, one that you'll never forget. Dreamcore images often include liminal spaces and strange fantasy lands which, depending on the context for people, can give off a sense of nostalgia. These images are usually bright with pastel colors. Other visuals you'll see in images include random and sometimes strange items that might be out of place or otherwise wouldn't make sense. These include bubbles, sparkles, eyes, wings, flowers, mushrooms, old CRT televisions, rainbows, and other strange items or creatures. Similar to Webcore, video games like Amori and Yumaniki are used to transport you to a strange dream world with interesting characters and visuals, with Yumaniki quite literally being a game about dreaming, where your objective is to simply explore this little girl's dreams. That's what I find so special about Yumaniki. There's no real goal or straight path in the game. You explore the worlds at your own pace and in the order you want. With many mainstream games nowadays being big, flashy, and fast-paced, it's gems like Yumaniki that makes it the goal not to beat the game the fastest, or try to find any hidden lore, but simply to just explore and get lost in these elaborate, strange, and warming dream worlds. This is driven home even further by the soundtrack, which ranges from beautiful to uneasy to just straight up random noises. If you have never played this game, please do. It's free on Steam, so you could go and play it right now. After finishing this video, of course. Besides the Yumaniki soundtrack and the Amori soundtrack, other artists associated with Dreamcore are Temperix, Beach House, Caro Caro Benito, Instupendo, and One Heart. Songs by these artists give off whimsical and almost mysterious vibes at times to make it feel like you're in a place beyond the limitations of Earth. A place where you're in control and can be happy in your own little dream for a while. Although Dreamcore is indeed a very strange aesthetic, let's talk about the core that is the essence of weird. Weird is an interesting term. What it means is really up to interpretation. Everyone considers different things weird. Interpretation plays a major role in this aesthetic due to how different images or videos can cause one to react. I associate good things with the term. There's something special about being anything other than what society expects you to be, and that's exactly what this aesthetic aims to prove. Like other cores, Weirdcore has been around basically since the birth of the internet, but it has only recently become its own aesthetic. Games like LSD Dream Emulator came out in the 90s, which today are considered part of Weirdcore. Weirdcore is a bit of a parent to other aesthetics such as Webcore and Dreamcore, but Weirdcore itself is an aesthetic that is centered around evoking feelings of confusion, disorientation, nostalgia, as well as that dreamlike feeling found in Dreamcore. Weirdcore media can make you feel very uncomfortable or very comfortable depending on what connection you have with the elements of a certain image. Visually, Weirdcore images are heavily inspired by the early internet, featuring nostalgic edits such as word art, weird borders, and badly edited visuals. The pictures are usually uncomfortably framed or of liminal spaces to give it that dream-like feel. Good Weirdcore media feels like a snapshot of a fever dream you had as a kid. The feeling of dread as everything you find familiar slowly morphs into something it's not. It makes you question whether or not you're experiencing reality. In these images, there are familiar properties, but it's all put together so none of it really makes sense. Something is always off. It could be that something's missing, maybe a boat has been replaced with water, maybe a reflection in a mirror isn't working as intended, maybe things are labeled something they're not, maybe your mind is blocking things from your memory, things that you were never quite meant to remember, yet the remnants are still there. Captions are found in many Weirdcore images, but what are they for? Why are they there? These captions are usually out of context or incomplete. These can range from just random statements to vague questions or even possible warnings. They make you wonder who is saying these things and why. Do they have good intent, or is it something more sinister? Along with captions, labels can be found in many images as well. They're usually pointing out something with an arrow or a box. Sometimes the labels are incorrect, and sometimes they're just question marks because whatever it's pointing out is incapable of being understood. Things are almost never where they are supposed to be in these images. Sometimes the atmosphere and water switch places, or maybe the image just isn't complete. Maybe your dream world just isn't fully rendered yet. Some images are supposed to appear lighthearted and are meant to give you feelings of nostalgia and comfort, but also some of these images have a sinister presence hiding. Images that use heavenly imagery give off this comforting but not vibe. Because of this, angels, eyes, and wings are abundant in Weirdcore images. For some people, these religious symbols can cause comfort, while for others, they can trigger the fear of a godly entity that's only pretending to be friendly. On the other hand, some images are meant to be a bit more stressful, as if you've gone too far deep into a dream, like you're on the brink of a nightmare. Everything is out of place, objects start to feel hostile, and you feel lost in an area that you aren't supposed to be in. Then there are the images that feel like they've been taken straight from a nightmare. They're usually shrouded in darkness to activate the primal fear of the unknown. There are many black voids or squares that appear to be covering or blocking something. Maybe it's your own mind trying to protect you from something you desperately wanted to forget. Maybe some memories aren't worth remembering. Aside from images, music is also a huge part of Weirdcore. Artists such as Jack Stauber, Alex G, Plastibrain, Temperix, and Infinite Frequencies are all associated with Weirdcore. Along with those artists, soundtracks from games such as Amori, Undertale, Minecraft, Yume Nikki, Soup 0.9, and Earthbound all have Weirdcore elements. Weirdcore media shows beauty and eeriness at the same time, and they show what interesting things people can create with absurd and bizarre ideas, and how one can stand out from others by doing so. It's okay to be different, and it's okay to not fit in all the time. It's no fun being normal anyways. Now that I've gone over some of the most prominent cores, for the remainder of the video I want to quickly go over some cores that are popular, but maybe less known than the ones I've previously talked about. The first of these I'll go over is... Now I'll start this section by stating that the genre of Breakcore has changed ever since its creation. Genres are always subject to change, and while Breakcore started more as ambient D&B and jungle that produced more chill music, it's now been converted to a more aggressive genre with harsher music, and that's the version of Breakcore I'll go over. With that being said though, Breakcore is one core that is more of a genre of music and less focused on visual media, although Breakcore does have its own art style. Breakcore uses heavy kick drums, deep bass, and scattered breaks. This music is usually fast and loud, with some songs giving off the feeling of panic or hysteria. Many songs in this genre are in languages other than English, many being in Japanese. They mix the sound of Vocaloid with this feeling of intense hysteria. Cover art and other images associated with Breakcore are usually very extreme looking, with harsh lines everywhere, and bright neon colors melting all over the image. Because Breakcore pulls from so many other music genres, there's not one consensus on what can and can't be considered part of Breakcore. Because of this, I've sort of made my own subgenre of these Breakcore songs that I like to call paniccore. Like I said before, these songs give me the feeling of panic or craze. Machine Girl is one artist that has grown in popularity over the last year that makes music of this sort, with songs such as Uzumaki, Ghost, and A Thought That Go Go, creating that sense of disorientation. Other artists that fit my paniccore genre are Gore Shit, Sewer Slut, and Tokyo Pill.
Go where you want to, do the things you feel. Walk around with a broken leg and $100 bill.
With meme culture becoming a staple on the internet in the past decade, there have been many images using certain animals to help portray a certain feeling, one of the most popular animals for these images being frogs. Frogcore is exactly what you'd expect. It's a core for people who are very passionate about frogs. Frogs have always been prevalent on the internet and integral to meme culture, with characters like Pepe, Kermit, and even Dat Boy becoming early memes to forever be remembered. Most importantly, frogs are just regarded as cute and wholesome creatures, so it makes sense why people enjoy using them in things. I mean, just look at them. How could you not enjoy this little fella's company? Another popular animal to meme in this way is rats. Ratcore is just like Frogcore, but with, you guessed it, rats. This core is filled with memes and cute pictures of rats. Ratcore can give off the sort of creepy, cute vibe because of the associations with rats, such as disease and death mixed with light imagery like glitter and pastel colors. This gives Ratcore a pretty chaotic vibe. I feel like I couldn't end this video without mentioning Nightcore, with it being one of the earliest established cores, and it still has a pretty large following today. The name Nightcore was derived from a Norwegian duo in 2001. These two would release pitch-shifted versions of other songs. The name itself means we are the core of the night, so you'll dance all night long. Nightcore is a music genre that is the embodiment of hyperactive pop. The tempo of these songs have been sped up, adding to the fun sound of it all. Because Nightcore mostly uses songs from previously established artists, there are not really many artists making original Nightcore songs, but there are many channels on YouTube that edit these songs and post them, such as Kenke and Eden12. And with that, this video concludes. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you for sticking around. This is of course my first video, so I'd love some feedback. If you did end up liking this video, then think about giving it a like, and if it does well enough, I might make more videos like this. There are so many obscure cores and other aesthetics on the internet, and so many other random hyperfixations of mine that I'd love to rant about. But with that being said, thank you again for watching. Bye.